Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Supercharging Your Workplace series hosted by LiveTiles. Your hosts for today's session are Alain White, LiveTiles Director of Technology Solutions, and me, Vladimir Radovich, Senior Account Executive for the Canberra business. So intranets are a super important communication tools, primarily created to support workers in connecting with relevant information. The problem we found is that they often fail at this primary task. Intranets quickly become outdated and fail to provide workers with the value that they require. And one of the core reasons for this is irrelevant information. Most intranets are often implemented with the best intentions. Intranet managers always intend to maintain the content, but it's not easy. Internal projects like maintaining the intranet are not high on the priorities list, and unfortunately, content becomes neglected. Once this occurs, it starts a vicious downward spiral of content neglect, leading to intranets that still contain fax machine usage policies. I've spoken with a few customers who implemented their intranets in the early 2000s and still have content on the intranet from those periods. What this does is cause a lack of engagement. When users need to sift through a ton of irrelevant and outdated content to get to what they need, they often just disengage and don't bother anymore. The great news is it's a fairly easy fix. It's about providing a level of governance, compliance, and employee self-service to your intranet. By including a level of governance and compliance to your intranet, you are mitigating the risk of your intranet becoming outdated. Throw in employee self-service and you allow employees to manage their own information, rather than leaving this to a select few individuals who may be overburdened by this task. And to show you how this works, I will now hand you over to Alain White. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Vlad. I'll just quickly swap over and present my screen. Okay, so good morning all. Look, thank you all for joining us. As Vlad mentioned, I'll just quickly go through a demonstration of our platform. I'm really going to focus in on the governance features of the platform as well as compliance. Now, before I do though, I'll just give you a quick brief overview of the platform so you know exactly what's going on when I do transition and move into different screens. So our platform is an extremely contextual environment. So we really understand who the users are. So we understand them through their profiles. We have a really strong profiling tool, which the team have covered in previous webinars. So I won't go into depth with that, but what we do is really, I would say, build out a very strong user profile, leverage that information and target the news, communications and everything that you're seeing on this particular screen. Down the left-hand side of the page is our Power Panel. Now think of this as an omnipresent area that will follow us throughout the experience. It'll follow us throughout the intranet as well as Microsoft Teams and soon to be shown into other applications like Outlook as well as the user's web browser through a Chromium App. Now, this will actually give us information as well as things that we can actually do to complete our role within the business. So it will serve us information like this. The very first one here is really rolling up news from our internal systems. So this is through SharePoint, which is what we will be demoing, things from external sources, which I think this is coming in from the New York Times, and then again from our employee app at the very top here, which is our Reach platform. We'll be showcasing events within this particular section and bringing in bits of information that people really need to do their job. The second one here is really embracing and bringing in all the information about me and my workday. So it's really showing me my emails. So this is the emails within the Everywhere panel. So this means that I don't actually have to also lose context of the platform that I'm in to actually see my emails. I can action them directly from here. We've also got the ability to look at your contacts, and one thing that's really quite important is really your schedule. So what's going on for me day to day. So this is all of my meeting events coming in to my intranet experience. I also have my work, which is all documents that are trending around me. Tasks, so these are tasks coming in from not just the internal system I have here as well as Outlook, but these could be bringing in tasks from your ServiceNows and any other external application that we can integrate within our platform. We've also got trending documents, and this is really showing me information that I do have access to, but people have made updates to it or commented on those particular items. You can click on these to directly access them. So that is I'll say a number of things that we can actually showcase for you within the Everywhere panel, but I'll really go into right now what we really want to talk about this morning, which is the governance features of the platform. So to talk about this, I'll actually click on one of the news items within the environment. So I'll just click on this one here, and it's just going to open up into a new page for me. From here, let's see. Go back. From here, I'm actually able to go through, let me just get this out of my way. I'm actually able to go through a few details here with you guys, just to show you how we can ensure that the information, as Vlad mentioned in his previous comments, is not out of date. It's always relevant. And if we do have anything expiring, we can actually move it into an archival area. Now, we do this within our platform, within the back end of the system, which I'll move into at the end of this demonstration. But to showcase how we are actually targeting these pages for this lifecycle management, I'll click on the page details. The page details here is actually showing us a little bit of information that we add on to the page that allows us to control the information through that lifecycle. Now, the first item I'll call out is one that's very important for us. It's the contact person. Now, the contact person will be the person that's responsible for the content within our environment. So whenever an item is published, they will receive notifications. Whenever an item is actually due for an audit, so potentially moving into an expiry area, they will receive a notification and they can go through and actually update it. The notifications are actually through emails, as well as notifications on the Power Panel or the Everywhere panel here, which you'll see a nice little number indicator for an alert shown to me. And the last one that we actually have for this person that they'll receive information is actually the valid to date, which is when we actually move this information into an archival area. So as a person creating this content, I can set myself as a as a contact person who's responsible. I can set the news date for when it will be published, and then we can set the audit date for when we'd like to revisit it and ensure that it's always relevant content. And the last part is when I'm not happy with that and I actually want to archive it, I can update this date where it will actually push into that area. So it's actually quite powerful. You'll always have relevant and updated information within our system. Now, one last item I just want to quickly talk about, which I think is quite important through this area here, is just targeting as well. So we do have the ability to target content to various groups of users within the environment. So the first one that we've got out of the box is the users department, and then we've also got locations. Now, the department's actually looking in this particular system at the user's profile. So if you have a particular department in your profile, let's say it's human resources, and this particular item has been published to human resources, they will receive a notification. They'll also be the only people within the business that can see this particular article. You also have the ability to do it via locations, and again, this is looking at the user's profile. What we could also do here is actually allow these to look at security settings or potentially metadata items. It's really up to you. You can also extend all of these items too, and we will respect whatever, I would say, user profile that you want to leverage to target, as long as it exists within your user profiles and your environment. Okay, so that's all about, really taking care of pages and move through this life cycle. And we'll also have, and also spoke about everybody really being an owner and information really in having someone that's going to be responsible for them moving through those particular gates. So what actually happens when you have an environment, when you have a whole bunch of pages sitting in there and you've pushed them all out, but you don't know where they're at within the life cycle? Obviously, the people who are responsible for them, they will receive these notifications, but is there one place to go to actually see where all of this is aggregated up to? And we certainly have this. So this is within our platform here. I'm actually quite excited to show you guys it. It's a new release that we've had, and it's actually pushed out last week. It really gives us a nice overview of our environment. It gives us an overview of the permissions. So this is what we see here. We see the permissions, and the permissions can be very granular. You can go from the very site level all the way down to the individual page level, which is very, very powerful. We can also identify external users as well as individual permissions. just the new world of SharePoint allows you to share absolutely everything. This allows us to target it and see who can actually see these particular items, and we can remove that access if need be. Now, what I'd like to really talk about though is the publishing feature, which is the one that's very new. So I'll click on publishing just to show you this, and I'll go into an area that we do have a page existing within the platform. I'll wait for this to load. And once it does actually load, you will see a list of all of the pages within the environment. And here you have it here. So here is a list. We have whether they have been published or not. So obviously the yes and the tick is yes, it's been published, and the other items they don't. But we don't actually have the published or unpublished date. Now through this area, we can actually click on a particular item, and we can actually set when we can unpublish these dates. This really ensures that we know which of the items that have been published, which of them, and which of them that have been, we can actually unpublish, and we can view all the items that have not been published yet, and actually push out these publishing within timed intervals, if need be. So the next one I'd like to just talk to you guys through is actually back into the back end of the system where we control a lot of this features. So I'll just quickly click on the back end. And from here, this is where we can actually review who are the owners of pages, but not only that, we can make a few changes to this. And to do this within the admin section, I can click on replace page contacts. Now this is quite a powerful, I would say, solution within a platform. It's very simple, but it is very, very powerful, especially for organizations who have users or individuals within the business that actually change roles frequently or maybe move in and out of the business. Now, I mentioned earlier that every bit of content can have an owner, but what happens with these types of environments when people are moving and changing is that you'd find that users who are responsible for content may no longer be responsible for content within a couple of years or maybe a couple of months. This information then becomes orphaned. So how do we actually take care of this and ensure that all this information is controlled by somebody and somebody is an actual owner? Now, we've actually got this replace page contacts to allow us to find the users that have moved on, but not only that, we can replace it. We can replace that ownership with a new user who's potentially taken over that role within your business. I'll quickly show you how this actually works. So I'll just quickly type in Herb, who is a user that I'm logged in. Now, I'll run a quick search, and this is going to go out throughout the entire environment, and it'll bring me all the information that Herb is responsible for. It does this, and I've just got the nice little list of this. From here, I can choose who I'd like Herb to be, who I'd like to take over Herb's role for ownership for these pages. I've clicked on Chantal Lee, and we can either click all of the items, or I can actually just choose a subset of items. Now, once I'm happy with this, I can click on replace and then yes. And now the system will actually go into it, find those pages and actually replace Herb as the old contact person with a new contact person, which is Chantal Lee. Again, ensuring that the information is always relevant, is always up to date, and you're not going to have orphan information or inconsistent information that people are going to make some decisions on. It's always going to be the right information that you see. Now, I'm going to quickly move over into one last area which is all about compliance. To do this, I'll click onto the home page. Now, from the home page, I briefly showed you just a few things on here. One of the items here is also the policies I must read. Now, to showcase this feature, I'm just going to click on the Policies Hub. Once I'm in the Policies Hub, you'll see two, I would say, types or two flavors of policies that we can push out within the environment. We have policies that I must read, and these are mandatory policies, policies I must do something with as an end user, as well as relevant for me policies. Now, the relevant for me policies, they're the ones that I don't really need to do anything about, but I should be aware of them within the system. Now, to showcase one of the mandatory policies I have, I'm going to click on the Code of Conduct policy where it opens up into a new area. Now, again, what you're going to see is really the power of the LiveTiles platform pushing into the environment. It's going to show you and give you a nice little indicator that this page revision date has passed. So as I mentioned earlier, every single page does have the ability to have an audit date, which is the revision date that I showed you previously. And this is really showing me here that this particular page or this policy has actually expired. Not only that, it's also telling me that as this user that I'm logged in, I need to confirm that I've read, understood, and will comply with this particular policy. Once I click on confirm and check that box here, what actually happens within our system, this actually writes it into the back end of the platform. Now, within the back end of the platform, you can run reports, compliance reports, to actually see who has seen these items. Not only that, who has said yes, they've read, they've understood, and they will comply with this particular document. The good thing about this too is that because we do have the versioning on and revision dates or audit dates, information is always going to be updated. And when you do click on confirm, you're going to be confirming on the version that you've read right now. If a new version has been published, you as the end user will receive a notification that the policy has been updated and need to go back into the system to review that policy and click on confirm again. Now, I'm going to go into the back end of the system just to show you what that compliance report does look like. Now, to do that, I'll go back into here and I'll quickly flick back into back. From here, I will click on the policies and procedures section, and through here, I'll just choose where my policies and procedures are going to be surfaced from. Click on add, and I'm just going to show all of my policies and procedures. Now I can do two things. I can download this report as a CSV, or I can just simply click on show report. Now show report's going to give me a list of all the policies I have. Not only that, it's going to tell me the version. It's also going to tell me who has read these items. Now just to show you one of the items that I have actually read, you'll notice we'll have Herb here. Has read a particular item, which is this one here, which is the internet policy, but we've only read version 5. Therefore, there's a new version here, version 6. Herb would have received an email just to let them know that there's a new one coming in, and they'll need to go through and actually click on yes, they've read and understood this particular item. So that's all about our compliance reports, and this is all contained within the back end of the system, and not only can we show it this way, but you do also have the ability to actually add this to Power BI reports or Tableau reports, anything like that, to visualize it and to share it off to people who own this particular content. Now, one last item I would like to talk you through, if I do have time, I think I do have a few more minutes, is all about the governance components within our platform about Microsoft Teams. Now, Teams is a very big topic, and I've often been asking what is LiveTiles features and functions within Microsoft Teams as well as other applications. Now, what we do provide is a very strong provisioning engine where you can actually create a whole bunch of governance around Microsoft Teams, as well as categorization of teams. You can allow the employees or empower your employees to provision their own collaboration areas, add metadata to them. You can invite users to them and actually submit it for provisioning and approval. Now, to showcase this, I've just quickly clicked on the Power Panel or the Everywhere bar on the side here, where you do see the My Workspaces. Now, to add your own team or collaboration area, you simply click on Add. And from here, it's actually going to show me all of the teams or all of the collaboration areas that I can actually provision. I'm going to quickly click on the external teams, and from here, oops, I think I've got a bit of a issue because I haven't refreshed my screen for a while. Just give me a moment. Now, I'll quickly go back into that, and then I'll go into adding a new team, And I'll quickly click on this, and there we go. So here is the metadata. Now this is me actually creating, submitting a request to create a team. The metadata that I have here, or the fields that you have here, are fields that actually can be tailored to you as a business. So it doesn't need to be what you're seeing here. It can be pretty much anything that you'd like. I'm going to quickly give myself a name for this team. I'll just call it a demo webinar team. And then I will choose a few more items. So we can set a phase. Now the phase is actually quite important. With our governance framework over the top of the provisioning, as well as the teams that you do have in existence within your system, the phase can actually be used to set the team to a work in progress, through to an audit, and then into an archival process where we can move that information to open, which is work in progress, and then to potentially read only when we go and archive this information as well as that team. So I'm going to click on initiation. We can set a start and an end date. Again, this will allow us to push this team through to various governance cycles or various life cycles. We've also got a status. We can add images. This is all about visually and discovering teams a lot easier. And then we've also have the ability to add in a revision date, which is where we can actually review to ensure the team is still relevant. I'll just quickly add in that item and then click on next. From here, we have roles that we can define, and we can have internal roles, external roles as well. So people from outside of your business can also be invited if you'd like to open it up, or this particular team up to external contractors and so on. Now, once you've filled in all of the information, you can click on Create. Now, once you click on Create, we also have the ability to run a check for duplicates or very similar teams that exist within your environment. Now, the environment will actually look for teams that have similar names or the same name, that has similar metadata, or it could have similar team members. If we do identify a group of these teams or group of these collaboration areas that have this, we send the person who has submitted this request an email just to let them know that there are similar teams, and give them links to those teams if they do have access to them, or give them access or the details of the people who own the particular teams. If they do want to go ahead with it, they can simply say, yes, I'd like to continue with provisioning my team. Then we can move that to an approval process. So not only are we checking for it, we are also putting things into approvals. Once it is approved, obviously it will be created, but if it isn't, we can actually go through and reject it and notify this user why. Okay, so that's all of this, all of the governance and compliance features within the LiveTiles platform. What I'll do is I'll actually hand over to Vlad, and I'll let Vlad, continue on for you.
All right, thanks, Alain. That was brilliant. So I think what we'll do now is go on to questions if there are any in the chat window.
Yes, mate, just give me 2 seconds. I've written these down. So one here from Andrew. Can I view the governance dashboard within another platform like Microsoft Teams so I can get a quick snapshot when I need it rather than heading to SharePoint? Got that one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, look, that is definitely possible. So we do currently have a number of clients that do have that feature enabled within their Microsoft Teams, and through our Everywhere panel, it's actually shown within Teams quite easily. Yeah, so that's no problem at all.
Any other questions?
The next, yes, just got one more from Graham. The governance dashboard provides a good overview of that status of your content. Can this be visualized in a different way to show a visual representation of the data?
Yes, most definitely. So the governance dashboards, I would say, is really driven by data that we have within the back end of the system. So that admin panel that I showed you, within there, you can actually, use Power BI to visualize these governance dashboards as well as Tableau. So there's no problems with that at all.
Thanks, fellas. Hold on, just had one pop up right there from Keith Cullen. Is there any ability for integration with ServiceNow for business process workflow integration?
Yes, it certainly is. It's a very hot topic with us at the moment. So ServiceNow integration is certainly within the platform. So we do it in a number of ways. So we do have a chatbot that allows you to create to create incidents and check on incidents and a whole range of things. And again, that's just completely out of the box. We also have some widgets that we do have within the Everywhere panel that you can that you can leverage to view all of the ServiceNow incidents that have been logged, searches, and so on. We can also have the ability to have any, I would say, updates within ServiceNow push into our notifications area, where people can actually view all of those notifications, interact with it, and potentially shoot back into ServiceNow or action them within our panel. So that's no problem at all. I'm more than happy to run a specific, I would say, session with you, Keith, was it? Just to show you exactly what this looks like and how we are actually doing it.
Well, there you go, Keith. That's a great offer there, mate. We don't have any other questions showing right now. Has anybody else got something out there they want to ask the guys? Otherwise, I might hand it back over to Vlad for a bit of a wrap up.
Excellent, thanks, Chris. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. If you have any further questions, you can get in touch via the details provided below. You can also find us on LinkedIn, and you can like and subscribe to the LiveTiles YouTube channel for more intelligent workplace content. I also wanted to mention that we'll be hosting a virtual conference called Love Your Work on the 2nd of December, so we'd love to see you there. Thanks, everyone.